Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we? Mine watching fast. I don't know if we're dead on 3.
Mine's a bit fast as well. Can't tell I'm here now because I'm in the.
So can we see the attendees?
Attendees 6. Paul Topping.
Yeah.
Joseph Carragou. Okay, those are the only 2.
Yeah. Start.
I can start that here, can't I? Attendees still on hold.
Can do.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Phil Nichols, Managing Director of Meditech, speaking to you today on the subject of Priority ERP and the measurement of return on investment. As hopefully you can see from the screen, we've got a short agenda today. As with most of our webinars, we're not intending this to be very long. So just short, sharp, bite-sized little nuggets, which hopefully everybody finds useful. So on the agenda today, very briefly, I'm going to have a quick chat about what is priority, and then move on to what is return on investment and how do I measure it. You've got the opportunity of having some questions and answers at the end. Okay, just a little bit of housekeeping first with regard to the webinar today. You can submit questions at any time. If you put your hand up, then we can unmute you, but there will be a Q&A session at the end anyway. Please make sure that we have feedback. The webinar is being recorded, so you will be able to find it on our website, meditech.com/webinars, along with previous and upcoming webinars. After the webinar, there is a poll where you can leave your feedback, hopefully to help us improve our webinars in future. And in your webinar pane, you will also find some downloads as well. Okay. So, Priority ERP software. Just a little bit about the system, first of all. It is an end-to-end business system with all business processes covered. So basically, we're looking at a system that will take you from your sales stroke CRM all the way through purchase, supply, inventory management, any production that's required, through to shipping, invoicing, and all related activities as well. It does operate across multiple industries. We are not just a one industry system, so we will operate across pretty well all industry verticals. Priority is also multi-language and multi-currency. Quite a distinction even today with a lot of systems. So we can provide priority to multiple users in lots of languages, and all of the transactions within priority can be multi-currency. With regards to installed base, worldwide there are over 8,000 companies who are using priority as their main business solution. That equates to somewhere over 300,000 users. There is just one platform for all your business transactions, which is extremely important. So it means that everyone within the organization can be linked together and integrated across the business. Priority is particularly good at being scalable, adaptable, and of course very, very flexible. With that flexibility is also an added advantage of a very easy upgrade path. So even though you might have a very customized priority solution in front of you, the upgrade path each time a new a new upgrade comes out, it's very easily installed, and any customizations are guaranteed to work with future versions whenever they come out. And of course, at Meditech, what we do best is provide support and training to make sure that all of our customers are using the Priority solution at its best, and making sure that it covers all of the business processes that are required. Okay, key features. So just very quickly over this. If we look first of all on the right hand side, Priority for Commercial. So this is providing general ledger, financials, as I mentioned, CRM and sales, purchasing, inventory control, business process management, very important just as a core part of the system, but also office management and executive reporting. So business intelligence, dashboards, etc. All come with the within the commercial version. And on the other side of the screen, clearly you can see their Priority for Manufacturing, which includes all of the commercial package, plus a lot more, engineering, manufacturing, all the planning mechanisms, production control, fixed assets as well within the financials, and of course across both systems we have system admin at all times. What we don't have on this screen, of course, but very important these days, especially in the UK where we've just introduced it, is Priority, particularly for the construction sector. Not necessarily a subject for today, but nonetheless important. Okay, so let's get on to the main subject of today, return on investment. So, what is return on investment? Well, before I get into that, I think it's important to identify what I've got on the screen there is that it's very important to remember, as with most things in business, the act of looking at your return on investment will actually improve it. So even before you try and improve the return on investment for an implementation, just the sheer fact that you're looking at it will undoubtedly improve it anyway, purely and simply because it has your attention. There's a well-known belief throughout business that if you want to improve something, basically all you need to do is just start measuring it. So ultimately, return on investment is a financial term. If you make an investment, whatever it is, you want to see a return for it at some time in the future. This is most important for business and particularly IT investments. When a proposal is put forward for implementing an ERP system, generally two questions are asked. One, how much will this cost? And two, what's going to be the payback period? It is, of course, preferable to have a cost-benefit analysis before embarking on an ERP project. There are so many occasions where I've spoken to people who have implemented an ERP system, not necessarily Priority, lots of others as well, where when they go live with the system, they then sit back and say, right, now I'd like to know how good this system is and how much it's saving me. The only problem with that, of course, is that you need to start measuring before you start implementing. So it's better to build a business case for an ERP system with the return on investment in mind. So in other words, when you're still at the very early stages of selecting a solution, you want to be thinking about return on investment even before you've decided who you're going to be going with. In the long run, the organization will be in a better position to make a decision, set goals and deadlines. And don't forget, the analysis around the return on investment will also create a base that can be used to measure future performance, both of the system and of the business as well. Ultimately, doing a return on investment analysis is all about looking at your business processes, how efficient they are. In an ROI situation, that's purely a matter of seeing whether they are better than when you first started implementing the system. But as a general rule, if you're looking at it on a constant basis anyway, you're also constantly looking to see how your business processes are performing. and how best you can improve your business. Okay, so what are the benefits? Well, there are many different types of benefits that you will get, and again, I'm now talking more specifically about an ERP implementation. These will, of course, change for each organization. So what's important for some organizations will be less important for others. And it's important to realize that some activities and costs are more prevalent and higher value than others, and therefore easier to affect. So in other words, if you've got an activity that accounts for 1% of the costs of your business, improving it 100% or totally eradicating that cost is only going to improve the cost base of your business by 1%. If you've got something that equates to 25% of your cost base, then clearly making changes to that is going to have a far bigger effect on the cost of the business as a whole. Some examples of potential benefits are things like reduced level of inventory, including raw materials, work in progress, and finished goods, through improved planning. Reduced material costs through improved procurement, accounts payable practices, getting less obsolescence and wastage of the materials, the equipment, etc. Reduce labour costs through better allocation, reduction of overtime of people working directly involved with production, such as technicians, skilled workers, etc. Improved production throughput through better scheduling, making better use of your critical equipment and subcontracting operations, thereby minimising shortages, interruptions and rework. And of course, reduction in the costs of any after-sale services. Again, this is where the aptitude of things to particular businesses comes in. Not all businesses deal with after-sale services, but obviously for some, this is going to be very important. Integration of information resulting in efficiency, transparency, and effective management information systems, error reduction, accuracy of inventory recorded. What else? Improved customer service, on-time shipment, shorter order to shipment cycles, establishment of standardized procedures, improved accounting control, shorter sales to cash cycle. So the quicker you can cycle your cash, so the quicker you can spend the cash on the materials, convert it into a product, get it shipped to your customer and get the money back in from your customer, the quicker you can make that cycle, then the more efficient your business is going to be. So linked with that, of course, is things like stock turn ratios. And of course, legal and regulatory compliance these days is ever more important. So what about calculating ROI? Okay, well, first of all, let's say there is no standard method of calculating ROI for an ERP project. If you think there is, then think again, there isn't. Lots of people do it in lots of different ways. However, there are some fundamental things you need to think about. First of all, first step, must determine the various cost components of the project, such as consultancy fees, license fees, modification or implementation costs, hardware, etc. Maintenance fees, don't forget those, they need to be included so that you can arrive at a total predicted cost of ownership. The estimated expenditure of staff time, your own internal staff involved in the project should also be included too and used to calculate the total cost of ownership. Next step is a little bit more difficult, which is to estimate expected benefits over a period of time. For estimating these figures, there should be a wide consultation and reference to reports and statistics emanating from various surveys. There's an awful lot of people who have done an awful lot of studies on this. Don't reinvent the wheel. Go and find out what they've said. Benefits largely occur from the reduction of inventory level operation costs, as I've mentioned before. So these will have a direct impact on profit and loss, and the reduction in inventory will cause release of additional cash, which can be assigned to a yearly value of saving. based on an organization's standard internal rate of return. Okay, so before I delve too deeply into lots of financial terms, let's have a little think about these ROI calculations. First of all, you've got to base everything on a single measurement, and these days, in fact for all time, it's always been money. So you need to have a financial value for each of the elements of this calculation that you're trying to do. Not all benefits will be easy to measure. Okay, there are tangible benefits and there will be non-tangible benefits. The key here, of course, is to try and make sure that your non-tangible benefits are reduced to a minimum. And you can consider these and look at these, and actually, with a careful bit of work, you can actually make some of your intangible benefits actually tangible, and you can put a value against them. For instance, one of the improvements that you might have is improved customer service. Okay, you might think, well, you can't put a value on that. Well, actually, you probably can, because improved customer service might actually save you from losing a customer or some customers throughout a year. Okay, as soon as you start thinking in terms of, okay, what would it cost for me to lose one of my customers, that then allows you to get to a situation where you can put a monetary value to your improved customer service. Okay, lots of ways of doing this, but sometimes it just requires a little bit of creative thinking in order to get to a better answer. And all costs ultimately to a business are going to be either material or services or labor. So if you look at the P&L of the business, you can segregate pretty well every line of a P&L into one of these three categories. Okay, so the actual measurement, the actual calculation. So what have we got here? Well, the calculation that I'm concentrating on here today is total cost of ownership divided by the annual return on investment equals a number of years of payback. So a good measurement of your return on investment is how long it's going to take you to get your money back. Okay, so the total cost of ownership, the provider costs, the vendor costs, so software implementation costs, maintenance, etc., as I've already spoken about, hardware or hosting, and any internal costs. The return on investment annually, so the increase of sales, decrease in costs, labor, material, management costs, etc. So fairly simple little equation there, and of course the difficulty is in the detailed little bits, and actually working out some values for some of these. But ultimately, this will provide you with a good measurement of how quickly you're going to get the money back on your ERP investment. Okay, next slide. Right, what I wanted to finish off on now is a related matter to this, and this is with regards to what happens if you actually decide to delay your ERP project. A little bit of a pet subject here. There's a lot of people who decide they want to have an ERP system and then for various internal reasons decide just to hold off for 6 months, for a year or whatever. What they don't realize is there is a very real financial impact to this. So let's take an example. Let's say total implementation cost of an ERP implementation is £48,000. I've chosen that figure just because it divides the right way, by 12. Your expected payback period, so you've done your return on investment, and you've worked out a payback period of 2 years, so 24 months. Therefore, it's fairly easy to see that the cost benefit per month that you're going to get from your ERP system is £2,000 a month. Okay. Now, if you then decide that you're going to delay your ERP project by 12 months, that means that effectively you're going to end up paying £24,000 during that period more by delaying it by 12 months than if you didn't. Now, pictorially, we can show this. And basically, we've got a graph here. If you look at the black line first, this shows you the profile, the cost profile of what happens when you go through an ERP implementation. So at the start, you have a pre-implementation cost base. And then obviously when you buy your ERP system and you start implementing it, your costs rise, fairly obviously, until you get to the top where you have your plan to go live. And then after that, your costs start to come down again to a post-implementation cost base. Okay. Now, the red line, just to the right of that, shows what happens exactly the same if you delay the project in the situation, the example I just gave, by 12 months. So you've now got a delayed project start date, a delayed go live date, and therefore a delayed financial advantage of doing that implementation. And the area that you see colored in yellow there is the total cost. That area represents the total cost that you are going to have to pay extra to what you would have done had you implemented the system at the time that you originally planned. Okay, so this brings us very neatly up to the end of time, I think. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening to that. Hopefully it's been of use to you. Hopefully you'll be able to take some of this away and be able to look at your own return on investments on your ERP projects and other projects as well. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to take them now, if anybody has them. Okay, doesn't look like anybody's got any questions today. Thank you very much for listening. Hope it was useful. As I said before, this has been recorded and it will be available on our website. Please look out for other webinars as they come up, and speak to you soon, I hope.